And as someone so eloquently put it on Instagram, if you want to go out in the blaze of glory, choose the M3. On this episode of Eat, Sleep, Drive, we're rating all my cars and how ready they are for the apocalypse. And I'm going to give you guys my take on the best apocalypse car. Welcome everyone to another episode of Eat, Sleep, Drive, and I hope you're all staying healthy and safe and at home, most importantly, during this whole coronavirus situation. I wanted to have some fun today and kind of keep things light. It's certainly a very serious situation, so I don't want to take anything away from it, but why can't we sit at home and come up with crazy hypothetical situations like we're about to do here? So what is that hypothetical situation? It is, what is the best vehicle in an apocalypse scenario? Recently on my Instagram account, I posted a photo of my garage and said, hypothetically in an apocalypse scenario, which vehicle would you take? A '08 BMW M3, a '06 Mitsubishi Evo, a 2007 Land Cruiser, or a 2013 Scion FR-S. Now, obviously, it was kind of just a joke and was just going to have some fun with it, but a lot of people responded, and then I actually started to think about it quite a bit, which is what I do. I overanalyze everything, and what I did was come up with 5 different factors for the best apocalypse vehicle. Basically 5 different categories that you can rate and score and come up with a final score of what makes the best apocalypse vehicle. So let me show you guys the chart that I came up with here. So I have my 4 different vehicles here, and basically we are going to rate them on reliability, durability, speed factor, fuel economy, and livability. Those are the 5 things that I came up with that I thought would be important in an apocalypse scenario. Like reliability, of course, you need it to be reliable. Durability, you need it to last, given everything that's going on with the apocalypse scenario. Speed factor, sometimes you might need to get away from people in a quick, sufficient way. Fuel economy, of course, fuel will be scarce in an apocalypse scenario, so you're going to need good fuel economy. And livability, you're probably going to have to live out of this thing for the most part. So we're going to rate these cars on all these factors, and we're going to have some fun with it. So I hope you guys leave in the comments below all your thoughts. And then at the end, I'm going to give my take on not just which one of my cars is best, but what I think the best apocalypse vehicle would be, regardless of everything. So let's dive in and start first with the Mitsubishi Evo. Now, Mitsubishi Evo is, of course, a Mitsubishi, so it's Japanese, which means it's fairly reliable. But as we unveil the score here, I'm giving it a 6 because the 4G63 does seem to be somewhat finicky, and the transmissions and stuff like that have known to be a little bit weak on these cars. They do have issues from time to time. So reliability, I'm going to give it a 6, which is certainly better than average, of course, right? Now, durability is another question. Now, a lot of people rally these cars, but they're not really that durable. Like when you look at people who rally Mitsubishi Evos versus like Subarus, WRXs, STIs, the Subarus just always seem to hold up a little bit better. So I'm giving it the durability of the car a 4. It's not really made very well. The crash test ratings are horrible. They tend to rust out kind of a lot. So it's not a very durable vehicle. So I'm giving it a 4 there. Speed factor. Okay, my car makes 400 wheel horsepower. It is crazy fast. I'm giving it an 8. It's probably the quickest car in my garage right now. Even though the M3 theoretically makes the same horsepower, the Evo makes more torque and is just way faster and lighter because it's a tin can. So speed factor, that's going to be good for getting away from people in a very sufficient manner. So giving it an 8. Fuel economy. This one's interesting. So I'm giving the Evo a 2. So Evos, number 1, don't give very good fuel economy. Even though they're a 4-cylinder, because they're so high strung and they're always under boost and stuff like that. But couple that with a super small fuel tank. These things have the tiniest fuel tank, so you can't go very far. And Also, my car specifically is tuned strictly for E85. And if you're not familiar with E85, it is ethanol. It is a type of fuel that people make from corn, and it's a little better for performance, but you get even worse fuel economy, about 30% worse fuel economy than when you use regular gas. So couple all those things together, this thing gets horrible fuel economy, and in an apocalypse scenario, E85 is just not going to be available for anyone. So it unfortunately scores a 2 there. And these are, of course, all out of 10. Livability. If once again, you might have to live out of this vehicle. 5. I'm giving it a 5. It's like right in the middle of the road. It's at least 4 doors, so it's got a little bit of room, but the back seats don't fold down. I would rate it maybe a 6 if the back seats folded down, but for rigidity reasons, they have bracing back there. The back seats don't fold down. So 4 doors, yeah, it's got a little more room. It does have a trunk, but it's not the most livable vehicle. What is the score of the Mitsubishi Evo? Total score out of 50, 25. So my Evo specifically obviously makes it a little bit worse because of the fuel economy with E85 and stuff, but that is not a very good score. I think it will get you away in a hurry, but you're not going to go very far in a Mitsubishi Evo in an apocalypse. Let's move on to the M3. Reliability-wise, brutal, guys, brutal. Reliability M3, a 4. It's pretty damn low on the scales. These things have rod bearing issues. These things have motor mount issues. They have all kinds of crazy things, and it's a BMW. Now, I think some of those things, of course, would leave you stranded, but a lot of the things that'll go wrong will probably be electronic, like window regulators and stuff, or just like other electronic things, which I'm going to say aren't as big of a deal in an apocalypse scenario. You're not going to be as worried about your window going down in a apocalypse scenario. You definitely just want to keep your windows up. So I'm giving it a 4, which is pretty damn low. How about durability? I'm rating it pretty highly here because in general, German cars are built very well. And this BMW, the E92 generation, which is the 2008, is very well made and very solid, and it just has a certain solidity to it. So I think it would hold up really well, with some baddies beating on it with bats. I mean, at least as far as some of these cars go, certainly more than the Evo. And it's also pretty rust adverse. Is that the right word? It's pretty good at preventing rust, unlike the Evo, which tends to kind of rust out a lot more. The German cars seem to hold up quite a bit better. So speed factor, pretty quick car, not as fast as my Evo, makes about 400 horsepower, handles really well. So speed factor, a 7, I think is pretty solid for that car. It's a quick car. Fuel economy, not so good. Better than the Evo because it has more fuel capacity, a bigger tank, so I can go farther on a tank of gas, which is probably going to be pretty important in apocalypse. Also, it takes regular 93 gas. It doesn't take E85. And it does get a little bit better fuel economy than the Evo, just straight up. So a 4, while low, is not the worst thing ever. Now, livability. Mine is a E92, so that means it's a 2-door. Coupes are not the most livable things ever. So I've docked it there, of course. But the back seats do fold down, and it is a pretty big coupe. And it has heated seats, heated leather seats, so that's kind of nice as well. Even though that doesn't really matter in an apocalypse scenario. But it is nice. Livability, I'm giving it a 4. So I think that's pretty reasonable. What is the final score here for the old M3? 27, so it scores slightly above the Evo. And as someone so eloquently put it on Instagram, if you want to go out in the blaze of glory, choose the M3. 8,000 RPM red line, slamming through the gears. It's a manual transmission. It's a nice way to go out, and I would tend to agree. So let's move on to the final 2 vehicles in my fleet, at least, before we get to the ideal apocalypse vehicle, the Scion FR-S. Now, this is a 2013 FR-S. They have a 2-liter naturally aspirated engine. They're slow, but it's overall a pretty good car, and I use it as my daily driver. So because it is a Toyota/Subaru product, well, Subaru would definitely sort of like decrement the reliability category, but Toyota makes it better. Anyway, I'm giving it a 7. These are overall pretty reliable vehicles. They do have some issues that people will tell you about, like the valve spring recall and stuff like that. I think they're pretty low numbers on that kind of thing. But I mean, mine has done 70,000 completely trouble-free miles, which is something that I can't say for my Evo or M3. So it gets a 7. I think that's reasonable. Durability. I think that rust and, it's a cheap car in general. So it's not like the most durable thing, but it's not horrible. So I'm giving it a 6. Speed factor is kind of interesting. These cars carry momentum very well, and the turns and everything like that, they handle super well, but they're not fast in the straight line. So I'm just basically going dead middle on the speed factor of the FR-S. Like, it's going to be faster than a lot of like other cars, regular cars like SUVs and stuff like that, but it's certainly on the slow spectrum as far as sports cars. So I think a 5 is pretty reasonable. Fuel economy is pretty much where this car shines. I'm giving it a 7. You can easily get 30 miles to the gallon with this thing on the highway, which is quite important for a apocalypse scenario when gas is going to be scarce. So a 7 out of 10 there, I think is a pretty reasonable thing. Livability, it's a small coupe, so not great livability. I would rate it even lower. If it was like a Miata, I would say it's like a 1 or 2. But at least the back seats do fold down. I have been able to get 4 wheels and tires in the thing. So it does have some livability, but it's still a coupe. It's not the most comfortable thing ever as well. So a 3 there is relatively low, but I think fair. Overall score 28. So it's like, as you can see, these first 3 cars are very, very close. And the FR-S just edges out the M3, mainly because look at this huge difference here in fuel economy. Obviously, some of this other stuff, reliability, it stays way better, but fuel economy is really where it shines, and reliability. So it's just going to hold up better and last you hopefully through the apocalypse. We get to the overall, what I would call the favorite on Instagram on the post that I made, the Toyota Land Cruiser, a car seemingly made for the apocalypse. But how does it stack up to my ranking system here? Reliability. Well, come on. It's a 10. 10 out of 10, right? Like, I want to be as fair as possible in this assessment, but you really can't think of a more reliable vehicle than a Toyota Land Cruiser. Mine has had no major work done other than routine maintenance, and it has 260,000 miles on it. So it's insane. Like, they're absolutely insane in the reliability standpoint. So I want, if you guys try and question me on reliability, I'm gonna disagree. What about durability? Also super high up there. Not quite a 10. I didn't give it a full 10 on this one. But they're super well made. Like I've talked about before, the seals hold up really well, even when they're stored outside. It's like a tank. Like if anyone questions the durability of these things, just look at where they go all over the world. Like they're super durable vehicles, and they hold up really well, especially off-road, which you're probably going to have to do in an apocalypse scenario. Now, where does it fall short? Certainly the speed factor. I'm giving it a 3. An 80 series Land Cruiser, which is the older one, had the straight 6 engine, which was even slower. This one at least has a V8, so it's not horrifically slow, but it's a big SUV, and mine's on mud terrain tires, so it's not very fast. So the speed factor is a 3. It's not getting away from any baddies in a hurry. So that is a cause for concern with the apocalypse scenario. Fuel economy, also not good. A 3. I'm rating it better than the Evo because it has a huge fuel capacity. It can go longer. It gets probably about the same overall fuel economy, but it does take regular gasoline, or can run regular gasoline, which is something that the Evo can't do because it only runs E85. Last but not least, livability. I mean, come on. Livability with the Land Cruiser, it's also up there, a very high rating with an 8. You could take out all the seats if you want and just basically live in the back like I have when I go camping. It has ample space. It's enclosed space on like a truck or something like that would be exposed in the bed. So it's a very livable vehicle. I mean, it's kind of made for that with the overlanding. So final score, 33. Obviously, the best choice, the Toyota Land Cruiser out of my garage. Now, what about the ideal apocalypse vehicle? Well, obviously, I looked at what I have in my garage, and I think very highly of the Toyota Land Cruiser. But when I look at it, I think, what can we do better with? Speed factor and fuel economy, of course, right? Like that would really get these scores up there. And that's really what's holding them back in an apocalypse scenario. Like I'm not going to be able to go very far without having to refuel, which is going to be sketchy. People are going to want to try and jump you when you refuel. And it's not very fast. So you can't get away from people. How do we solve that? Well, I stumbled across these guys, dieseltoys.com. And now I'm not affiliated with these guys in any way, but basically what they do is everyone in the US wants like the best version of a Toyota, right? Like they want the one that's offered in Europe or something like that. And that's because they have diesels over there. And a diesel would solve basically all those issues of fuel economy and even speed factor, because these guys, all I need is 50 grand, guys. So I'm going to need you to watch a lot more videos of mine. 50 grand. And of course, the cost of the vehicle, they will outfit your 100 series Land Cruiser with a 1VD-FTV engine, which is Toyota's 200 series twin turbo diesel engine. It's a 4.5 liter engine, and it is a masterpiece. It's in their later model Land Cruisers. So with this engine, you get a 268 horsepower and 479 pound-feet of torque rating. So it's already going to be faster than the gas engine that was in there. So speed factor is going straight up. And then, of course, the big thing with diesels, and this one specifically, is fuel economy. Let's look at the fuel economy rating for this thing. According to Wikipedia, 22.8. I'm currently getting like roughly 14 miles to the gallon in my Land Cruiser. And at a 26 gallon tank, that's about 350 miles of range. If I got 22.8, I would get almost 600 miles of range. So significantly better fuel economy, significantly better range, and faster. So I am saying that a 100 series Land Cruiser outfitted with the Diesel Toys diesel engine would be the ultimate apocalypse vehicle. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I hope you found this video enjoyable. Once again, I don't want to make light of a very serious situation. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay home, and we'll get through this, and I'll catch you guys on the flip side. If you want to follow me in between episodes, check me out on Instagram. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing you guys on the next one. Peace.